This is strange. This is strange. This is strange.
Everywhere you turn, it's the same old sports talk, the same headlines, the same news, and the same boring information. This podcast is here to change all of that. We bring you hot sports takes, winning sports betting strategy and picks, reliable gaming industry news, and breaking interviews with some of the biggest names in sports business. My name is Ryan Newpel, and welcome to the Noop Sports Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Noop Sports College Football Conference Previews. I'm Tom, and I'm going to be discussing the ACC conference today. But before we do, make sure you check out Noop Sports. That's KNUP sports.com, where we can help you make money on your sports betting. If you have any needs, sports betting needs, give us a look at noopsports.com. I'm going to talk briefly about some of the teams in the ACC. I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like about each of the teams. And we'll do them basically in alphabetical order. In the Atlantic Division, Boston College last year was 7-6. They were 6-1 against the spread. Defense has been a strength last year. This Harold Landry was the man up front as he had 16.5 sacks. John Hillman was an effective running back. But 3 of their final games this year are going to be in Massachusetts, and that's good for their schedule. What I don't like is they have some big question marks. Wide receiver group isn't very great. The defense will need to be tightened up a little bit. There are several tough games on their schedule, and they're going to start with a matchup against Northern Illinois. The season win total is going to be less. They were 7-6. Look for them to win 4 games, maybe 5 at the most this year. We come next to the national champions, Clemson Tigers, 14-1. 8-7 against the spread. They don't have a quarterback after Deshaun Watson left. They're still looking, but whoever it is under center is going to have Deion Kane, Ray McLeod, Hunter Renfrow, a very talented group to lead them. The front line is going to have very little trouble getting to the opposing quarterbacks. Dexter Lawrence, Christian Wilkins, Clelin Ferrell, those guys are just tough. Now, what you don't like about them is they have a target on their back. The Tigers are hunted everywhere they go. With no signal caller decided yet, it's going to be tough for a young quarterback to get in this league, play these games. They get Auburn, they get Louisville in the first 3 weeks of the season, and that's tough for a young QB. So it's going to be tough. They have a road game in September at Virginia Tech. They may have won 14 games last year, but I got them at maybe 9. Florida State Seminole was 10-3 last year, 8-4 against the spread. Defense is their calling card right now, much like Clemson. Has one of the best corners in Tavares McFadden. He had 8 interceptions last year. They will rely on second-year quarterback DeAndre Francois, who's a year older and can move out of the pocket in his quarterback position run. What I don't like is the wide receivers, just unproven. I mean, yes, they're very athletic, they can perform, but they need to get a better line. Games against Clemson, Florida, Alabama are all away from home. Tough schedule. We've seen many good teams struggle and facing the Crimson Tide at the season opener, and that's what they do this year. Florida State win total, it's tough. I'm going to go with 9. That may be, no, we'll go with 8. I think they're going to rack up a few losses. Louisville Cardinals. It's always great to have the Heisman Trophy winner as one of your as your quarterback. Lamar Jackson is going to win a lot of games just by himself. He threw over 5,000 yards. He had 51 touchdowns. And then he's got wide receiver Reggie Bonifant, who was a quarterback and converted. There's going to be some real strengths there with this team. But some of the weapons that Jackson has to throw to are a little bit unproven. Offensive line is young. The quarterback is going to be asked to do more and more, and I'm not sure what he can really do. The team played very poorly at the end of last year as they had a 3-game losing streak. North Carolina State Wolfpack, 7-6 in the season, 9-4 against the spread. 8 starters are back on offense and defense. Bradley Chubb will be getting talked about more and more, if not for his amount of defense he's lined at this conference. Jalen Samuels is a weapon. North Carolina State will line him up all over the field in formations to get him open. But I don't like they have fallen short when people expect them to do well. For as good as the front seven is going to be, the secondary will be a weak point. They have a tough 4-game schedule: Louisville, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, Clemson. Won 7 games last year, probably 7 games again this year. The Syracuse Orange 4-8, 5-7 against the spread. Experience: they have 19 starters back on, and they keeping almost everyone on offense. Eric Dungy has the ability to beat you on the ground, through the air. Amba Adetua had a great season, and so did Steve Ishmael and Irvin Phillips. But the defense is a problem. They allowed 76 points in the season finale last year. The secondary was one of the worst, and maybe one of the worst again. They just don't get much pressure on the quarterback. They'll travel to LSU, Florida State, Miami, Louisville. So wins could be a problem late in the year. Probably another 4 or 5 win season for Syracuse. Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Confidence is brimming. They're 7-6 last year, 8-5 against the spread. They finished with a bowl victory over Temple. They showed some things they could do. Cam Syringen is a weapon in the middle of the field. The defense should continue to be strong. But what I don't like about them is the biggest problem is their quarterbacks can't stay healthy, whether it's Kendall Hinton or John Wolford. There's not much in the way of depth behind them. The defense only has 5 starters back. They got 4 games on the road over a 6-week stretch, which includes a bye. They probably will win, probably only 5 games. In the Coastal Division, we go to the we go to the Duke Blue Devils. We're not talking basketball here. So the Devils were 4-8 last year, 7-5 against the spread. They have a good coach in David Cutcliffe. He is good with the offensive side, where he has as a quarterback Daniel Jones back. Jones only had 9 interceptions in 433 attempts as a freshman. 6 of their first 8 are home, so they could build some momentum there. What I don't like, what I don't like is the skills positions are solid, but not very spectacular. Lots of question marks. Some of those early home games are against Northwestern, Baylor, Miami, Florida State. So wins are going to be tough to come by. Duke is trying to build a fan base when it comes to football, but they just can't seem to win. I picked them to win only 4 games again this year.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan with Noob Sports. Hey, quick break in the action here. I wanted to tell you about a sweet promotion going on this football season at Bovada, one of the best places to bet on football. They got a 50% bonus all the way up to $250. All you got to do is head out to Noob Sports. That's knupsports.com/bet.
The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, 9-4 last year, 7-4-1 against the spread. They have Matthew Jordan will be running things. He has a triple option. He's got J.J. Green, Dedrick Mills, Clinton Lynch all back at running back. 4 starters on the offensive line. The defense will be very experienced. Special teams could be a problem. The front seven's a little bit young. They play Miami, Clemson, UCF on the road. None of those are going to be easy. Conference opponents are becoming more familiar with this triple option, so they could be a problem. They were 9-4 last year. I look for them to win 7 games this year. Miami Hurricanes, 9-4 last year, 9-4 against the spread. They are a talented team. Amon Richards, Mark Walton are among them. The defense returns Shaq Horderman, Chad Thomas. They get 3 straight games at home at the beginning of November. What I don't like They go to Arkansas State with a big matchup with Tallahassee, in Tallahassee against Florida State. Those are kind of a trap game. They also host Toledo, who will not be easy. They don't have a quarterback yet. They have a couple of touted quarterbacks, Malik Rozier, Nkosi Perry, but they're still unproven. Win total 9. Yeah, I think they're only going to win 8. North Carolina Tar Heels. Well, they lost Mitchell Trubisky, and that's going to hurt. But they picked up Brandon Harris out of LSU. He has good experience. Austin Prale is a wideout. Larry Fedora will be working on his offense. It was a fast-paced type of opposing defense, but what I don't like is the defense was probably better last year, and they just didn't fare well. They struggled. There's talent, but it's not proven. Running back is going to be a problem. Won 8 games last year. I look for them to only win 6 this year. Pittsburgh Panthers, 8-5 straight up, 5-8 against the spread. They got a nice transfer at quarterback with USC's Max Brown. He's going to step in to replace Nate Peterman, who's gone. He'll be able to work with Quadre Henderson, Jester Way out wide, along with Quadre Ellison in the backfield. The offensive production remains very solid. What I don't like is they've lost some players. They had problems in the offseason. They lost a couple players. Some were suspended. Some were kicked off. The defense allowed just like 35 points a game. That's not very good. And so they're looking for a new kicker. They're under 7. They're going to win like 5 games. Virginia Cavaliers won 2 games. They were 2-10, 4-7-1 against the spread. They have Andrew Brown, Micah Kaiser, Quinn Blanding that they can rely on. It's nice to have good players at each level. Kurt Benkert will be the quarterback, and he hopes to use several Zacchaeus as more in the scheme of things. It's hard to win when you haven't been winning. That's a tough thing. Offensive line has holes. They will have a returning quarterback. He wasn't great, but he just averaged 6.3 yards a pass. That's not very much, and only 56% completion. They close the season with Louisville, Miami, and Virginia Tech. Won 2 games. I actually think they're going to win 4 this year. They're a little bit better than they were. And the Virginia Tech Hokies, the defense will be strong, maybe even the best in the ACC. Greg Stroman and Brandon Faxion are so good they'll probably end up playing on Sundays in the NFL next year. They have a kicker that they can use in Joey Sly. What I don't like about them is they have a hole at quarterback. They need some quality receivers to work with Isaiah Ford. Offense as a whole is not very good. They jump right in the season with a tough game against West Virginia at the FedEx Field in Maryland. And that's it for the ACC Conference. You've been listening to Noop Sports Podcast. That's Noop, K-N-U-P, sports.com.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Noop Sports Show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing to our iTunes channel today. Plus, visit us at noopsports.com for more picks, previews, strategy, and news. That's KNUPsports.com.